Welcome to today's video. Today's video, I'm going to discuss two things that are happening in the world today. One in the UK and one in the US, but both could mean the end of free AC charging. Before we look at the American issue, which is different to the UK issue, let's first understand why EV owners can actually get free AC electric when they go out in public. Slow AC chargers are by no means fast, so 3, 7 and 22 kilowatt AC chargers we're talking about here are not fast, because the average electric car sold today is going to take at least 2-3 hours to charge to full on one of those chargers. Now, you're probably guaranteeing that most customers will stay there at least an hour, even if it was a 22 kilowatt charger, and if it's a slower charger, they may stay a bit longer. And businesses are always looking at ways of attracting customers to their business, and to guarantee that a customer has to stay at your business premises or retail park for a certain number of hours because they're getting a benefit is just pure business logic. I mean, from a marketing sense, it's absolute genius that you can secure a customer to stay there, to basically have to spend more money while they're with you, either shopping or visiting your business or establishment. It is absolute pure marketing genius to these companies that are giving it away for free for a relatively small cost of having the AC chargers installed and that electricity ongoing costs every year. It is just a marketing gimmick. Now, there's nothing new about shops offering some sort of benefit for you to come and shop with them. Shops are used to give away free, maybe parking charges. You used to pay for maybe the parking, but if you shopped in the store, you could redeem your parking and get it for free. Or it might have been maybe a little bit differently. You used to spend £20-30 in store, $20-30 in store, and in return you'd get maybe a cent a litre, 2p a litre off the fuel cost of petrol when you filled up at one of their petrol stations that they own. And I'm mentioning this now because when we get to the American issue, this will make a lot more sense. The UK's issue is partly down to some people in government that think they have a solution to a problem that doesn't really exist too much. Now, there is some rules coming in that all rapid chargers, including pre-existing ones, have a set date in which they have to have a contactless card reader. In other words, they need another method that you can activate, set them, use them without using an app. So they have to have a contactless card reader if they're an open public charger that is able to start the charge, just to make people's life easy because of all the horror stories that go in the papers and everything that you see. So any new rapid charger that goes in now has to have these facilities already in, and any existing rapid chargers, that public rapid chargers, they will eventually all be converted. In fact, I can't remember what the deadline is, but it's pretty soon. However, someone in government thought it'd be a really good idea to also apply this rule to AC chargers. Now, I get the rationing. They actually think that this would be helpful and improve the life of EV owners, which, if you look at it as the grand scheme of things, probably yes, they have got a point. It would be beneficial somewhat. However, I have two concerns. One, I think that it would stop AC chargers being fitted as much as they are at the moment. And two, I think it could mean the end of free rapid chargers. Now, we need to first understand that 7 kilowatts, 22 kilowatt chargers and 3 kilowatt chargers, they're essentially loss leaders. Even if they're charged a kilowatt rate, they're essentially a loss leader because the infrastructure to put them in, etc., and groundworks means that they're quite expensive to put in. So if they're a public accessible charge point, unless they're charging a pretty silly or ridiculous fee for the kilowatt unit, the chances are they're losing money on it. Now, there is going to be some AC charge points that do exactly that, but a lot of them are free that I know of, or at a significantly reduced rate. Now, you might be asking why adding contactless card readers would mean the end of free chargers. Well, it's quite simple. Free chargers are free because of your data. When you sign up to these apps that offer free chargers for certain supermarkets or certain sites, in exchange, they get your data. This data might be how many times you revisit this location, how long you stay at this location, how many kilowatts you consume at this location, and also share some of your metadata, some of your phone's information, that's secret anonymous data that they may use to target you. Adverts for certain supermarkets, or even adverts on certain electricity uses, etc. There's so much money in your anonymous data that these supermarkets or charge companies can use, and in exchange for that data, you get a free charge. Now, you might not agree to be sharing your data with these charge companies, and which I completely understand, which is why you can choose chargers that aren't free. The point is that if you put a contactless card reader into a lot of these charger locations, they have to pay a fee for using those card services. So the charger, those contactless card readers, they have an annual fee, like a service charge that they have for rental, for using, and the technology that they use behind them. And also they have to pay a card transaction fee on top of that. And that alone, that actual cost, could mean that many of these companies decide just not to fit free AC charging at all. Now what I suggest is a change in the legislation's wording to say maybe if the charger is free to use, there's no charge to use the charger, then no contactless card reader is needed. Or maybe another method to start the charge, maybe a coin slot or a club card or something like that, tap to the machine to say, this is a free charge. If you didn't want to use your mobile phone, that could be another way of speeding up for people who don't have mobile phones, because obviously people who drive electric cars might not have a mobile phone, which I don't believe fully, but that could be one method. Or I suggest maybe another method, not just maybe free chargers don't need to require contactless card reader, but we have a consumer price cap for energy. Now let's say the consumer price cap for energy is around about 30p a kilowatt hour, which is roughly at the time of making this video. If the charge for the AC charger is half the kilowatt hour rate of the consumer price cap, then maybe they shouldn't also require contactless card reader, because they're seriously discounting the rate of that AC charge. Maybe they should be restricted to allowing to not have a contactless card reader. These are just some suggestions of mine, but there is a way that you can help maybe force these suggestions through, or have someone force these suggestions through by campaigning for you as EV owners. Now you can sign up to EVA England, which is £20 a year. Now this is not a sponsored video. EVA England have not paid me to say anything like this, but Warren, who's their chairman of EVA England, is a good friend of mine. He probably wouldn't say the same about me, but I will call him a very good friend of mine. I have a lot of time for Warren. Really, really nice bloke who volunteers his free time for lobbying and running EVA England in the best manner he can. Now, if you sign up to EVA England at £20, yes, if you're in Scotland, you can sign up to EVA Scotland. If you're in Wales and Northern Ireland, I don't think there's anything for you at the moment in an electric vehicle association this way, but EVA England is £20 a year, which is cheap to lobby government on electric vehicle owners' concerns. And as an EVA member, you help decide the direction that EVA England will take. The more members they have, the more direction and push and lobbying power they have against the government and other things. Now they do a lot of things in the background, and they have done a lot of things in the background without a lot of members, but the more members they get, the more power they get. So it's the best £20 you could possibly spend as a EV owner. Now what about America? Well, America has a completely different problem. Their problem is called Keith Kidwell, and he ain't kidding with what he's thinking of doing. Now, bill number 1049 is a bill that says, I can't believe I'm about to read this. He wants fuel equality. He wants fuel to be fair. And now that sounds like a wonderful idea, apart from when you hear what his idea is. He wants government land that's used to provide free charging for electric car owners to also offer free fuel, diesel and gasoline, for diesel and gasoline owners. So if that government land offers free electricity for EV users, he wants them to offer tokens to the gasoline nice drivers and diesel drivers. I mean, it's insane, because we've just discussed why people give free electricity out, because they spend time at the property to spend money. So giving free vouchers to go and fill up your gas car, I mean, that's ridiculous. And not to talk about the price difference between the two, that's even worse. Now, I'll read exactly what it says in this bill. It says, a county shall not use public funds to provide electric vehicle charging stations on the property owned or leased by the county, or to fund the install of electric vehicle charging stations on the property owned or leased by a person, entity, unless the county or the person or entity provides gasoline or diesel fuel for motor vehicles through a pump to the public at no charge. I mean, that bill is ridiculous. If you live in America and this bill passes, I think you already know what's going to happen. All these AC chargers will either be charging straight away or be ripped out or be declared out of order forever and never be used, which will be a real shame for the adoption of electric vehicles. But it shows that the fossil fuel lobby in America is still very strong. The fact that they've managed to make Mr. Kidwell bring this bill to any sort of light at all is just ridiculous. So I hope this doesn't go through for Americans. I hope the UK also sees their direction on AC charging. If you have any comments or questions, don't forget to leave them down below in the comment section. If you haven't already subscribed, make sure you go and click that subscribe button, and I'll see you again next week. Thanks very much and goodbye.